Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Big Hit. Got a panel of a lot of us today. Danny, Matthew, Josh, myself, and Alex over here. We're predicting the NFL draft again. Danny and I did it last year. We got, surprisingly, a number of them correct. There's more of us, though. We might have some discourse. I know Josh and Matthew are kind of new to the NFL draft, so this should be interesting.
I have a lot to say.
You have a lot to say. Those players have the it factor, as you said.
Yes, big on the it.
But we're going to go team by team, who we think they're going to pick. And let's just start it off with the Chicago Bears. So up there you can see like what they need. I know there's a man by the name of Caleb Williams. I don't know if they're going to take him. So
yeah, a little iffy on Caleb Williams. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really heard of him, but you guys know anything about him?
I heard he paints his nails, so.
Yikes. That might actually help with football, though.
Probably.
The grip.
Yeah.
the grip.
Yeah, this is an easy one.
I see the it factor with this one.
The it factor. Okay, Caleb Williams goes to the Bears. Okay, Washington Commanders. So they also need a quarterback, bad. And do we think they go QB or something else?
I mean, I think you have to take Drake May here. I personally don't think he's good at all. He reminds me so much of Mitch Trubisky whenever he came out in the draft. You know, a guy from UNC that everyone hyped up. Listen, UNC plays nobodies. The ACC, it's such a weak conference for football, and I don't see anything that Drake May that really impresses me. But I guess you kind of have to go with him just because he's the best quarterback option in the draft after Caleb Williams.
I'll go Drake May as well. I think it's just destiny. I think he's either a Commander or a Patriot.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
No it factor here.
No it.
I'm not big on Drake May, as you call him.
I love Drake May. I think his helmet in college is awesome. They have the best college helmets, and thus he should go second overall.
I didn't consider drip, and maybe I should have.
Yeah, the drip has.
The drip factor is
a
big,
big
but is it
factor.
bigger than the it factor? No.
Okay, New England Patriots. They also need a quarterback. As you can see, they're not ranked high. But if we want to go QB, you're into Jaden Daniels. Let's see where they have him ranked. 21st overall prospect. He's fallen off a lot.
Yikes.
I feel like Bo Nix is more of a Patriot guy.
Yeah, I feel the it from him.
Bo Nix is
Bo
a
Nix is
Patriot.
a big it.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they went up and got a generational receiver, either Neighbors or if, obviously, if Harrison Jr. is still there, then you take Marv. But I don't know. I think they're leaning a lot more towards quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they trade back and get Bo Nix late first, early second, because that's what the Pats do, and they use that pick on Marv.
Yeah.
I
I like
that.
Bo Nix. I think him and Belichick are gonna mesh well. I think Belichick and Bo Nix. That's a combo. Right
Sadly,
there.
Belichick
Someone
is
needs
gone.
Oh,
Do you not
know? Yo, I didn't know about that. So
The news is reaching
okay,
pretty
I'm still
late.
going Bo Nix though.
Bo Nix. Oh goodness, we have some discourse.
This would suck to be a Patriots fan because like
Nix wouldn't be.
there's nothing at 3. This is a pretty weak draft in my opinion.
It's gonna be JJ McCarthy.
I think you have to go quarterback. Jalen Daniels, I really do think is the best quarterback option in my opinion in this draft. I have a kind of a vendetta against Caleb Williams, so I really like what Jalen Williams did this year rushing wise. So I think he's a pretty good option.
So
for
we
New
have
England.
3 different picks. Matthew, do you have a certain guy you're looking at?
I think Marvin guy, I think he is huge it factor. I am
Marvin
predicting this
Harrison.
now, and I'm going to stand by this till the day I die. He will be the greatest wide receiver in NFL history.
Wow.
So Marvin
That's
Harrison.
he is that much of an it factor to me.
I think this is the best player in the draft.
I think I kind of want to go on the Marvin Harrison side of things, just because I like your idea of them trading down for Bo Nix. It just kind of makes sense. So
are they trading this pick or are they?
Well, no, I guess later they'll trade it in this situation, or maybe he'll drop to round 2 because they haven't really picked in round 2.
Yeah.
So we got Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean,
I like it.
if a generational receiver's there, in my opinion, I don't think any of the quarterbacks that would be here at this point, even the guys like Jalen Daniels, I don't think that they're going to do anything as much as Marvin Harrison will do in the league. So I mean, you're kind of wasting a year on a quarterback to have a unbelievable wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't hate that if I'm New England. I just don't think it's going to happen. But I would like to. If I was a New England fan, that's what I would want.
Yeah. Arizona Cardinals. They need a wide receiver, center, guard, D lineman, corner. Malik Neighbors is there. I know he's gotten a lot of surge right now.
Yeah,
in
you
the
got to
draft.
go Malik Neighbors here.
I'm thinking
Sure.
Malik Neighbors is going to be a Cardinal.
Go Tigers.
I could see Marv there too. Obviously, if the Patriots go quarterback, which it sounds like they do want Daniels as well. So again, that pick number 3 is really where the draft kind of falls apart. We don't know what the Pats do. Because I think that team could be scary, but yeah, I would also love to see Marvin in Arizona with Kyler restart his career. That'd be beautiful.
I know we still have to get to those picks coming up, but the Broncos and the Vikings are big question marks. I know the Broncos just got Zach Wilson. That's going to be awesome in Denver. But other than that, like it's going to depend on what they do because there are situations where people think they're going to trade up and get J.J. McCarthy very early, and that could be dangerous, you could say. It's a risk. But moving on, L.A. Chargers.
I think this is easily Romo Zoon.
They
need some more wide receiver. They just lost Keenan Allen. They're trying to make sure Justin Herbert doesn't absolutely just disappear and leave them in free agency whenever that comes up. So I think they need to support him as best they can, try and win. I think Romo Zoon is one of the best receivers, obviously, in the nation, and I think that he's a pretty good fit for Justin Herbert's play style.
Honestly, I do like that one. I'm going to agree with Danny.
Yeah, Rome Odunze, I've loved him when he was a mid first rounder, and obviously he's not Marv, but the fact that he's being put up there in the top 3 receivers in this draft class that is stacked at receiver, I think that's really impressive. So I love Odunze going to the Chargers.
That's 3. Okay, New York Giants. This is a very confusing team. Daniel Jones is still their quarterback. They signed him.
Jalen Daniels here.
I think they go Jaden Daniels.
I think they could.
He is still there.
I just don't see where. I don't think he can fall past the top 10, right? And the Titans, I don't think they're going to go quarterback this year. You know, they drafted a quarterback the last 2 years. So
how mad do you think the Vikings or Broncos would be if Jaden Daniels is still there and then the Giants take him of all teams? Or the Jets or the Falcons, even though they don't need him, or like something stupid happens. I think that would be a very interesting story. So you're going Jaden Daniels?
I mean, yeah, we've gone skill position every single.
Do you want to see the top guys? So they got a tackle, tight end, Cooper.
They definitely don't need Brock Bowers. Cooper DeJean is probably not going to go top 10. I don't think he's that big of a playmaker.
Edge, D lineman.
They do need a lineman. So I mean.
There's always a very interesting pick in the first 10 where someone gets taken really early. Like last year, Jahmyr Gibbs was the shocker pick. The Lions picked him like 10th or 9th. Do we see that with the Giants here, or do they go with Daniels if he's there?
I can see them just ripping the first tackle they see off the board.
And Alt's no offense to Joe Alt, obviously. I know he's watching. And he's a great tackle. I think he's better than Paris Johnson Jr. was last year. Went 4th overall to the Cards, and or was it 3rd overall that he went?
It was one of the 2.
It was 4. It was 4 because the Texans had back-to-back. So, yeah, I could see Notre Dame tackle going to the Giants. I've always been of the mindset that you need to make sure that you have a good offensive line before you bring in a project quarterback, or else you end up with a Daniel Jones situation or a Kenny Pickett situation where you need to build that offensive line. Spending the 6th overall pick on a lineman is gutsy, but Alt's, if anybody in this draft has it, he's got the it factor.
The it factor. What do you guys think about Joe Alt?
I have a kind of unrelated question. In this simulator, are we able to trade picks?
Yeah.
We had to pay for it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not paying.
I would have traded Chargers pick.
Well, I would have traded this 6th overall for 1-for-1 for Kenny Pickett.
1-for-1.
That would be my move.
Yeah.
But I guess if you have to, I'd take the Big Joe up there.
Big Joe.
He's
give me
he's
Joe
a slight
Alt.
it factor.
Joe Alt.
He's got a major league name there. I feel like
I could see that
the
name.
broadcasters are going to be ripping Joe Alt with the big blocks on the O line. So
I could see that name on the
give me
back of
Joe
the
Alt.
Giants jersey.
So Jaden Daniels right now is our big story, who was dropped and was not picked in the top 3. I think that could honestly happen. I'm not going to lie. But Tennessee Titans, they no longer need a quarterback. They would have been one of those teams that probably needed one. They need a wide receiver, guard, tackle, edge, defensive back.
Who's the best receiver left?
Best
right now?
receiver left.
Worthy.
It's going to be, so let's see where they're ranked. 22nd.
He's not. He's not a top 10 pick. I mean, who's Tennessee's tight end?
Can't think about that on the top of
Their
my head.
scheme doesn't use tight ends, so
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think they could use Brock Bowers.
I think spending the 7th overall pick on a tight end is hit or miss, and it's not as. I mean, there's an argument to be made that it's an impactful position, but I don't think that 7 overall is it for a tight end. I do like Latu at this pick, picking up some depth on the edge, especially. Obviously, Jeffrey Simmons is coming near. He's approaching his prime, so you want to beef up that defensive line, really use that strength. And Latu's the guy. He's a huge guy who can get off the edge real quickly. He just has such a knack for tackling. The way he's able to get his arms around the players in the backfield, just can't get out. It's like a Venus flytrap. It's crazy.
I think if we're leaning that way, I think the first defensive player we're gonna pick. I think.
I do like Latu here.
I think Tennessee's in a very good situation. Like, they can get the best defensive player in the draft if this actually goes down. I'll go Latu.
Yeah.
Guys
I
like
that.
Latu?
I like that pick.
Yeah.
Second
Is his
best tight end.
contract coming up soon? That might be why.
I'm not sure.
Also
he
depth.
just signed an extension.
free agent.
Also depth, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, their scheme uses more tight ends, but I would love to see the Jets take Bowers at 10.
I think they will.
Looks like it's Bowers.
Because they've never really had a great tight end in their history. And I'm of the belief that, I mean, you look at the past 10 years in terms of Super Bowl winners, they always have a good tight end on their team. And so I think it's can be an overvalued position, but at 10, he can be a generational guy. Maybe their scheme fit incorporates a tight end.
So Minnesota Vikings in this situation, they need a quarterback bad.
Yeah, I think it's Jalen.
And you know what's funny about that? If this situation happens, I think the Vikings or Broncos are going to screw this up.
Yeah.
You have Jane Daniels, J.J. McCarthy, and Bo Nix. J.J. McCarthy seems like a guy the Vikings really like. Them and the Broncos. They've been looking at him, and I think if Jane Daniels is there, they could screw this up and go J.J. McCarthy.
I think the only reason they're looking at McCarthy
loved
so
his
much
pro
is
day.
they don't think Daniels will even be there. I think they think New England's going to take him. So, I mean, I think Jaden Daniels is much better than McCarthy, like by light years. So
I think if the Broncos were in this situation, they would pick J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix over that guy because I just think the Broncos are one of the stupidest teams.
Got to go Daniels.
Yeah.
Going Daniels.
Yeah. Keep it smart.
Minnesota is in a situation where Jay Jettis is going to be losing his contract pretty soon. And if you don't have a quarterback or a good prospect quarterback there, he's taking his talent elsewhere. Just like, I mean, Devontae Adams did it. Given Green Bay couldn't keep him. But obviously, JJ is the guy putting butts in seats at S&T. Is it S&T Bank? Is that actually their stadium name?
I don't think it's
No,
S&T.
that's for
maybe.
IUP.
That's IUP.
What's theirs? Yeah.
That's our hockey rink.
Yeah, no, that's ours. But what's their arena sponsor?
I
I
forget
thought it
what
was
it is.
S&T.
Look it up.
I thought it was ST. But either way,
It's
in
another
Minnesota, they need to keep JJ, and the way to do that is get a QB.
Yeah. Denver Broncos. They also need a quarterback, even though they just got Zach Wilson.
I think we could see McCarthy go here.
They love J.J. McCarthy. He just looks like a Denver Bronco. It's either him or Bo Nix.
Reminds me,
Got some guy. I mean, you still need a center, edge, and corner. Cooper's still there.
Yeah, I don't hate the gene in the Bronco in Denver, but yeah, if you have a quarterback there, take him.
You think it's J.J. McCarthy, or do they shock people and go like Bo Nix or Penix really early?
McCarthy.
McCarthy?
Sure.
He has surged up the draft boards.
Yeah,
very
which is
quick.
I think it's pretty stupid.
Okay, Raiders. They also need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Running back, guard. They need a lot.
And throwing this out there, I wouldn't be surprised if Corum goes here, and purely because I think they're going to overvalue.
I like
running
Corum
back.
there.
I don't because they're in a good situation, but
I can see that.
It looks like
think that could be
Little has been over.
Over.
Wow.
All right,
That would be the
Clearly, you guys don't know ball.
the jump of the draft if
Yeah.
Blake Corum.
Clearly,
I
you
would
guys haven't
not
done
be
your studying.
surprised at all.
I really don't hate that.
Back-to-back Michigan picks.
I think he's really pretty good.
Don't Blake Corum.
Big fan of Blake Corum.
Blake Corum.
Okay, Steelers. There's a
Listen.
lot they could do. Personally, I
I
like
think Adonai Mitchell.
Mims.
I think
I like
Adonai Mitchell.
Mims or Powers Johnson
I really like Adonai Mitchell here, man.
because
I
they
think
need a center.
He's the best receiver left. He is different than George Pickens in a sense where you have two different options and different playmakers. He's a big guy. He's a deep ball threat. He's fast. I'm a big Adonai Mitchell fan. know.
I think they get a
I'd
receiver
put
round
on
two.
to him, but he's pretty good here, man.
I think the Steelers have a chance to get one of the best centers in the draft. well, the best center in the draft, and Powers Johnson.
Yeah, I think
Because center, they don't have one.
it's between Powers Johnson.
And Frazier. But Frazier's going to go round 2.
Yeah.
But Powers Johnson, if they don't take him, he's not going to be there. But I also like Mims for some reason at tackle. I think he's ranked 20th. I've seen a lot of mocks having us getting Amarius Mims from Georgia, pairing with Broderick. But
Yeah.
I really like Jackson Powers Johnson.
Yeah, Powers Johnson is probably the best center.
What do you think outside of, since you're an Eagles guy?
I think Powers Johnson is the right pick, but I also don't know that 20 is the pick for him. I think if you have tackles in a draft, tackles have a much higher ceiling than I think a lot of centers. And this is coming from a Kelsey fan, that I thought Lane Johnson always overshadowed Jason Kelsey in Philadelphia. I think if you have this pick, I would take Powers Johnson for the Steelers' sake, just because we're not trading. But if they decide to take Jackson Powers Johnson, JPJ Part 2, I would say that they take him near the end of the first and try to get a little bit more value for
I
their
could see them
draft pick.
trading down.
I don't hate Powers Johnson as a pick. Personally, I just want to see a receiver, but I think a very smart
Yeah.
pick is to help Russell Wilson out and
They've had
get
so
this
much luck
offense.
getting receivers round 2.
yeah.
It's true, and this is the draft to do it.
Yeah, I'm leaning Powers Johnson just because they don't have a center.
I'm fine
and
with
they
going
need it.
Powers Johnson.
I think Powers Johnson will look great in the black and gold.
Yeah.
So
He just has
Timmy
he
Powers
has a
Johnson.
very
It'll be a
Steeler
tough
name in
jersey.
my
Yeah.
opinion.
It's also very true.
We're going Jackson Powers. It might be a jump, early pick, but it's the best center in
Yeah,
the draft.
I think he ends up in Pittsburgh by the end of the draft.
Okay, Miami Dolphins. Tight end. A lot of tackles up at the top.
Yeah,
I think tight end.
They just lost a really
best?
good right tackle.
Ooh, that's a jump.
Yeah, no.
Eric All.
No way. No way they go tight end here. They don't need it that bad.
See, like they use the receivers more so.
Yeah, but
They're a deep threat team.
Guard or a tackle here, I think, for sure. Maybe the dude from Penn State.
yeah, Fashanu for
Ooh.
sure. I like that. Again, they lost an offensive lineman in free agency. I can't remember his name. And then they also lost Wilkins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a defensive interior at this pick, I wouldn't mind seeing them take a DT. I can't see someone being available
Who's best
mid-20s.
Want to see best D
We'll look
lineman?
at yeah.
Another jump.
And I don't think any of them are really impactful starters in the NFL. So yeah, I'd take Fashanu.
Fashanu.
I'm fine with that. I think
Okay.
in my opinion, he might be one of the better tackles to come out of
Okay.
this draft class.
I'll let your Eagles. I mean, hypothetically, they're staying there still. What do you think they go with?
At this pick, we're gonna have to scroll for a little bit. Mitchell would be a steal. I've liked Nate Wiggins from the beginning, though, and
He's a beast.
I think Nate Wiggins is the best pick for Philly. It's a secondary that's just getting older, and if you want to maintain that elite status that the players have, and not necessarily the defensive coordinators have, this pick is wisely spent on Nate Wiggins. I think if he were in the draft last year, he'd be a top 15 pick easily. And at 22, this makes sense for the Eagles to take a corner.
I'll just go along with you. If you think that pick's good, I'm going Wiggins. I think he's one of the best corners in this draft as a whole.
I think he could be better than Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a real quiet guy out of Clemson.
Okay, Minnesota got another pick. They just picked earlier. Now they're at 23, so they get their QB. They'll need a tight end, guard, D lineman, and defensive back.
See the QBs left?
Well, they got Daniels, I think, right?
Yeah.
We did draft Daniels.
We
I thought
drafted
I thought we
Daniels.
skipped on him.
I mean, for future reference, if we take another team getting QB, it's Bo
Bo
Nix.
Nix, yeah.
Spencer
Penix.
Rattler's there. Penix.
Penix fell.
I think it's injuries and stuff. Honestly, I don't think I don't know why I really like Mims.
I was thinking Mims.
Amarius Mims, because he's a guy people have the Steelers taken, but I would have taken him, but it was just Jackson Powers Johnson just sitting there. I might go Mims. I think they get him since he's still there for value. I know Batanu's still there, but I really like Mims from Georgia. Rolling
Yeah,
with
they're great
Mims.
picks.
Yeah.
Give me Mims.
Okay.
Yeah, he has very heightened value.
And here's where I think Mitchell goes.
I
to
thought
the Cowboys.
I think that Blake Corum could really go to the Cowboys here.
Yeah.
But
we already had him
he
go.
already
Wild
left,
card.
so
I think we went into the
Yeah.
Raiders.
Yeah, no, that'd be out of 9.
I think this is Adonai Mitchell.
From Texas.
Yeah.
Isn't that nearby Dallas?
Yeah, they'll keep him in state.
Yep, Dallas is in Texas for sure.
Well, no, like the school. I forget where the school is, but Green Bay Packers. There's a lot of good tackles.
They're definitely going tackle here. They need
two
to
very
protect
good ones.
Jordan Love at all costs.
I know Graham Barton's also very good from Duke. He was one of the best ACC guys.
When there's 3 tackles on the board and they're all kind of close in ADP score, I think you got to look at just where they went. Bama is just always going to be the best option when it comes to a school and the guys are close together. I'm always going to roll with Bama, roll with the Tide here, go with J.C. Latham. The dude's a beast.
What do you guys think?
Seen him a few times protected.
Roll Tide. Give me
Roll Tide.
Latham.
Roll Tide, baby.
Tampa Bay. This could be another Blake Corum spot if he's there.
I don't think so.
I don't think they would take Blake.
Well, I don't know why
Rashad
running back
White.
is their number one
Yeah.
need with Rashad White.
He had a
but
great year last year.
Jared Verse, I like that. Obviously, they don't have the same linebacker depth that they did. Vita Vea is still insane up the middle, but you got to go to edge rusher, and I think that can multiply Vea's production.
Somehow Vita Vea is still
Going verse.
breathing.
So, like, is there anything we want to discuss very quick before we go? Like, storyline. I know we had Jaden Daniels falling.
Yeah, I think the first 5 picks in this draft are the most, like,
Important.
yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think is, if the Bears were smart, in my opinion, if I was a GM for the Bears, I would have kept Justin Fields and drafted Marvin Harrison. I know people said that's kind of insane, but I think Marvin Harrison is a way better prospect than Caleb Williams is. And when you have someone in the draft like this who you just know is going to be generational, I will always pounce on them.
The Bears have 2 top 10 picks.
Yeah.
They could easily go Marv and pray for a quarterback or trade that 9th pick up.
Exactly. I think they could have gone Marv and then gotten
Trade up.
Jaden Daniels at 9.
If that happens, like that would have been really good.
I don't see a world where Williams doesn't go first overall.
Exactly. He's just.
I don't know, though. I mean, well, now, obviously, without Fields. But even when they had Fields, I wouldn't have liked them to take
They already
first. They would have traded
I forget.
down.
They had a wide receiver that wore number 13.
down a little
And they told him he had to change his number like last week. Like, okay.
I think a storyline is us doing Blake Corum early to the Raiders.
Yeah, that was.
I think Blake Corum is going to be round 1, the only running back taken. I think a team is going to jump for him.
I really like the Cowboys taking him.
That's a great fit.
They have Deuce Vaughn, 2 little running backs, under 6 foot. You play them with each other in a rotation with snaps. That could be dangerous.
Yeah, at 24, you're kind of praying that he falls to you. And that's what Dallas did last year, and they missed out on, what was it? It was Kincaid that they wanted last year, right? They made a ton of noise for Dalton Kincaid. They didn't get him. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they do make a move to move up. They do have a ton of assets. A couple expiring contracts that you can move without a real long-term cap penalty. My take from the first round, if I had to change anything, would be that the Chargers trade their pick. Chargers are a team with so many holes, and you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert. You need to get you can't waste a year of his contract. You just can't. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers trade out of the top 10, even top 15, get a good player on the side, and also end up with an Adonai Mitchell, closer to 20.
I like that one. I think another takeaway for me is I'm very curious with my bias what the Steelers are actually going to do. This is a draft where there's multiple position groups that they need. I think it's either tackle or center. And if there's so many tackles that we think are going to drop that far, I really like Mims. I know we had Mims going to the 3 picks later to the Vikings. But I think if Jackson Powers-Johnson is there, you have to take the best center available. Just because the play at center last year was awful with Mason Cole, and they need a guy that can be that franchise center since Marquise Pouncey left. And I know they messed up the year Linderbaum was drafted. I think it was the year they picked Pickett, wasn't it?
Yep.
Linderbaum was there. I would have been fine with Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah.
Just because he's on the Ravens now, and he's looking like their franchise center, and he's going to be there forever. And that was a very good value for that pick because people were saying he's the steal of the draft because everyone was just looking over him, even though they knew he was that good. And no one really, I don't want to mess that up with Jackson Powers-Johnson if he's there. Best center in college football, like one of them last year, and he's just available at his projected spot. And I know Frazier from WVU is another guy that they have them possibly getting. I hope it's not just because like the Pickett situation where they want the local guy. I know they might want to. That's also worrying me about the Penn State guy, Fashanu. That they might just pick him just because local college. Like I know the Eagles probably wouldn't do that, but like I know Fashanu was like the #1 overall pick for a very like top 4 all year long, and now he's like projected like I think he has like some injury issues. I think.
Then that's why.
It's a worry. I think if any team's lucky to get him, they're going to be very lucky. But Steelers could do center, tackle, corner to put with Joey Porter Jr. I think if DeJean's there, maybe Kool-Aid McKinstry. I know you and I talked about him before. If he's there, possibly. I like Kool-Aid McKinstry on the Jaguars. That could go crazy. But yeah, I think the storyline is with how many. This is a draft for I guess, the offensive side of the football. We did not take a lot of defenders in round 1.
Yeah, we forgot about Turner. I think he could really turn out to be one of the best stars from this draft. Not even just defensively. I think Dallas Turner's upside. Where do we have him going? At some point.
I don't know.
Seattle.
Yeah,
Seattle. He's going to be an instant starter there on the edge. Again, it's a little bit of a question mark. Obviously, the coaching staff's a little bit of fluctuation, but that's a safe pick for the Seahawks to take a guy who is going to produce no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, then that's what worries me about us taking offense so early is you have a team that brings in an offensive player. They don't always make an impact. You take a defensive player, especially a consistent guy, like we have consistent defensive players all down the draft. Teams value that too, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more edge rushers or corners in the top 15 rather than in the 20s where we have.
I think one more storyline before we go is what the Bills are going to do. Do they trade up for someone? Because they just got rid of a bunch of guys.
Yeah, they got rid of
and if they're there, what position are they going to retool? I think it has to be wide receiver now for Josh Allen's sake. You can't waste Josh Allen. I know they just extended him, but like you can't waste his prime.
Yeah.
He needs help, and maybe they trade up something crazy. Maybe they're the draft day crazy storyline where they trade up to the top 10.
They've never made a splash like that.
And maybe it's time.
Even they don't have the assets to do that.
Even if they did pass on Brian Thompson Jr., if Brian Thompson Jr. somehow falls to the Chiefs, like
the Chiefs are getting a receiver.
Yeah.
I think they're getting a receiver no matter
we
what.
Don't even, Rasheed Rice probably won't. Do you think he's going to play after what happened?
I think he plays.
Yeah,
I mean
he's just getting a multi-game suspension.
Yeah, dude. Carter was involved in the death of one of his coaches. You know? Like that, he was still in for the whole time. So
okay, well, NFL draft for this week. We'll see how many we actually get right. I know your guy Little, the kicker. Where do you think he goes? Do you have a certain team?
I don't know.
I think it's gonna be the Steelers.
I hope so. I hope so.
You have to get a Little jersey.
Long
100%.
snapper?
100%.
Well, yeah. If Little's watching, we believe in you.
I expect big things from you, big man.
what
He's
if this
Little.
affects his like draft capital? Like he becomes a second rounder because
I think the NFL
he could've
GMs
gone
are
12
watching this
overall.
right now, and like
I think the Bears GM is going to take him first overall, personally.
the Bills GM was just listening to us. He's like, you know what? Maybe we should trade up. Maybe we should trade up for #1 to get
He has that
Marv.
it factor.
Yeah, it worked last time they drafted a
The
kicker.
punter from Iowa is actually really, really good this year.
He was the best one I think available.
He's actually a beast.
Okay, well, that's going to do it. Our NFL draft predictions. So, #1, of course, I guess, quick top 5 overlook. We had Williams, May, Harrison Jr., Neighbors, and Adunze. Adunze. Yeah, that's our draft. I think we all pretty much like it.
Yep.
It's been fun. We will be back next week, the final episode of the school year, and we're out of here. Okay, so we'll see you all next time. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day whenever you're watching.